We still let us stand and listen to the Holy Gospel. Peace be to all.
And to your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to the Holy Apostle and Evangelist Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord. Glory to you.
Let us be attentive. When noon came, darkness fell on the whole countryside and lasted until mid-afternoon. At that time, Jesus cried in a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? A few of the bystanders who heard it remarked, listen, he is calling on Elijah. Someone ran off and soaking a sponge in sour wine, stuck it on a reed and tried to make him drink. The man said, now let us see whether Elijah comes to take him down. Then Jesus, uttering a loud cry, breathed his last. At that moment the curtain in the sanctuary was torn in two from top to bottom. The centurion who stood guard over him on seeing the matter of his death declared, clearly this man was the Son of God. There were also women present looking on from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James the Younger, and Joseph, and Salome. These women also had followed Jesus when he was in Galilee and attended to his needs. There were also many others who had come up with him to Jerusalem. Please let us stand and listen to the Holy Gospel. Peace be to all. According to the Holy Apostle and Evangelist Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord. Glory to you.
Let us be attentive. At that time, two others who were criminals were led along with Jesus to be crucified. When they came to Skull Place, as it was called, they crucified him there, and the criminals with him, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus said, Father, forgive them, they do not know what they are doing. They divided my garments, rolling dice for them. The people stood there watching, and the leaders kept jeering at him, saying, he saved others, let him save himself if he is the Messiah of God, the chosen one. The soldiers also made fun of him, coming forward to offer him their sour wine and saying, if you are the King of the Jews, save yourself. There was an inscription over his head, this is the King of the Jews. One of the criminals hanging in crucifixion blasphemed him, aren't you the Messiah? Then save yourself and us. But the other one rebuked the first, have you no fear of God, seeing you're under the same sentence? We deserve it after all, we are only paying the price for what we have done. But this man has done nothing wrong. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you enter upon your reign. And Jesus replied, I assure you, this day you will be with me in paradise. It was now around midday, and darkness came over the whole land until mid-afternoon with an eclipse of the sun. The curtain in the sanctuary was torn in two. Jesus uttered a loud cry and said, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. After he said this, he expired. The centurion, upon seeing what had happened, gave glory to God by saying, surely this was an innocent man. When the crowd which was assembled for the spectacle saw what had happened, they went home beating their breasts. All his friends and the women who accompanied him from Galilee were standing at a distance, watching everything. Glory. Stand and listen to the Holy Gospel. Peace be to all.
And to your spirit.
Our reading from the Holy Gospel, according to the Holy Apostle and Evangelist John.
Glory to you, O
for each soldier. There was also his tunic, but his tunic was woven in one piece from top to bottom, and had no seam. They said to each other, "We shall not tear it. Let us throw dice to see who gets it." The purpose of this was to fulfill the scripture, "They have divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots." And this is what the soldiers did. Near the cross of Christ there stood his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. Seeing his mother there with the disciple whom he loved, Jesus said to his mother, "Woman, there is your son." In turn he said to the disciple, "There is your mother." From that hour onward the disciple took her into his care. After that, Jesus, realizing that everything was now finished, said to fulfill the scripture, "I am thirsty." There was a jar there full of common wine. They stuck a sponge soaked in this wine on some hyssop and raised it to his lips. When Jesus took the wine, he said, "Now it is finished." And then he bowed his head and delivered over his spirit. Since it was the preparation day, the Jews did not want the bodies left on the cross during the Sabbath, for that Sabbath was a solemn feast day. They asked Pilate that the legs be broken and the bodies be taken away. Accordingly, the soldiers came and broke the legs of the men crucified with Jesus, first the one, then